Loving you, just loving you. Winter, summer, springtime too. Loving you makes no difference where I go. Oh, I do. You know that I've always been loving you just you, and if I'm seen with someone new, don't be blue, don't you be blue. I'll be faithful, I'll be true, always true, true to you. There is only one for me, and you know. Wait a minute, man. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Somebody just told me that that President Reagan and some other people have been shot. I'd just like to say that I hope they're not hurt badly.
Hi, everybody. How are you today? Oops. Hi, everybody. How are you today? All right. So today's live stream is going to be about Priscilla and some other friends. Did they know, or family members, did they know about this ahead of time? The reason why I'm asking that is because Gail Brewer Giorgio, in her book, Is Elvis Alive?, questions the same thing. So, without further ado, I'm going to start reading a little bit and then we can chat in a little while. All right. So, I'm going to be using Is Elvis Alive? And some of the Elvis files today. And the truth about Elvis Aaron Presley in his own words. I got a couple of things in here that I can look up as well. All right. So, Gail had written this book originally because her book Orion was pulled off the shelves. Orion is a fiction book that she wrote shortly after Elvis died, and she wrote it in 45 days and did not do any additional research on Elvis, she claims, and did not know anything really about his life. So somehow, some way, this book that she wrote, Orion, ended up mirroring Elvis in his life. And so what happened is she ended up kind of storytelling in a way. It was kind of interesting how they kind of tied together. We're in the middle of reading that book on our private group on Facebook. Elvis the Man is Alive. If you want to join that, you have to answer the membership questions, and then you can catch up on that book. I'm not allowed to read it on YouTube because it is a copywritten thing, and that type of thing. So I don't have permission to do that. So in the private group, it doesn't go anywhere but in the group. And some people listen, some people don't. But anyway, pretty interesting how it does kind of correlate a little bit with Elvis's life. And for a person who claims that she never ever researched him was quite interesting. So she was talking about Priscilla and her memoir, Elvis and Me. And she was saying how they were interlinked between the two stories. That she said, Orion and his wife, sang Hawaiian wedding song to his wife on their wedding night as well. The same thing as Priscilla. It was quite interesting. And so um she went on and on. It's like almost like she had a little like intuition to predict future or something. She had done that with another type of book as well. She mentions it in here, but I'm not going to cover that because it doesn't really pertain to this subject at the moment. So she had Orion hoax his death at the end, and his manager was very influential in doing that. But I do have a video, a live stream, I believe. And Colonel was a mastermind in the plan. If you haven't seen that, check it out. All right. Quite interesting information in that. Okay. So I'm just going to pick up where. Although I was shocked at how close I came to the real incidents that described in Elvis and Me, several other factors surprised me. One is that Priscilla's natural father's last name was Wagner. Wagner is the family name. And Priscilla even looks like members of the Wagner family. It wouldn't shock me to discover we're related. Now, I guess her, Gail Brewer Giorgio, must be related to Wagner somewhere. Now, Priscilla was adopted by her stepfather, Bulio, and that's why she picked the Bulio last name. Her original father died, I believe, in war or something like that. Okay, so anyway. So the second factor I question is Priscilla's recall of August 16th, 1977. She says she heard the news of Elvis's death sometime around noon or shortly after. Noon in California is 2 o'clock in Memphis. Elvis had not been pronounced dead at 2. His body was about to be discovered. Giving the benefit of the doubt, let's suppose it was 3 o'clock in Memphis and she was notified. She then says she asked that the airplane Lisa Marie be sent for her. It was. In her own words, she states she boarded the Lisa Marie around 9 o'clock in the evening. 9 o'clock Los Angeles time is 11 o'clock Memphis time. So Priscilla describes the trip as seeming endless. It would have taken around 4 hours to fly across country. But again, to give all the benefit of the doubt, suppose the trip was a speed test of 3 hours. The earliest she could arrive in Memphis would be 2 in the morning. After the landing was the limousine ride to Graceland. There was a crush of photographers. Traffic was heavy. Arrival time at Graceland would have been around 2:30 in the morning, the earliest. Most of the family and close friends were either in Elvis's grandmother's room or in the den, except for Lisa Marie. She was a 9-year-old child at the time. So she states that Lisa was outside on the lawn riding around in a golf cart given her by Elvis. Now that would be strange. If you heard your father died, would you be riding around in a golf cart in the yard at 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning? And at least 2:30 in the morning, more like 3 or 3:30. The media and the fans were crushing the gates. There is noise, commotion, and thousands of people. There are lights and cameras and cries of disbelief. Yet the one person, a child at that, who needed protection is outside riding around in a golf cart. So that doesn't make sense. Does it? Priscilla goes on to describe how she took Lisa into her arms, then released her to allow her to ride around in the golf cart again. Why would any 9-year-old child be allowed outside in the wee hours of the morning? This was not an ordinary child. This was the daughter of Elvis Presley. This was the same child Elvis feared um, would be the target of kidnapping or harm. Priscilla's story makes neither rational sense or maternal sense, excuse me. What I suspect is Priscilla has her story mixed up. Perhaps she was at Graceland all along, or she has not taken care to make sure her story is packed. There is, even to this most uninformed, an element of disbelief in her version. Many question as to whether it was a total fabrication. It is also hard to believe that, with thousands flocking to Graceland and clogging Elvis Presley Boulevard, if Priscilla had come at a particular hour, she would found a speedier way to get to Graceland rather than by limousine. Why not a helicopter? Yet she states she was ushered into a waiting limousine which sped in all that traffic to Graceland. After viewing the funeral, Priscilla and Lisa were tremendously composed. Rethinking the events prior to the death takes on a wider speculation. It bears repeating. During the 3 weeks Lisa was at Graceland, Lisa's longest visit since Elvis and Priscilla divorced, Elvis spent a great deal of time with her every day. August 16th arrived. Elvis was leaving for an extended tour. Why hadn't Elvis sent Lisa back to Los Angeles on the Lisa Marie the day before? Why would she still have been at Graceland on the 16th, a day Elvis was unavailable and was sleeping away? Lisa had arrived on the Lisa Marie, yet there were no plans to return her. She couldn't have returned on the Lisa Marie on the 16th because it was scheduled to leave for Portland, Maine for the tour. And one possible answer, although unlikely, is that the Lisa Marie was headed to Los Angeles or Las Vegas to pick up members of Elvis's band and take them to Portland, and that Elvis would travel to Portland in Jetstar. If this is true, then the Lisa Marie would have been on its way to cross-country flight and back. Another theory is that Elvis was planning to leave Lisa to have Lisa flown home on a commercial airplane. Again, this would be unusual for Elvis, as he owned several airplanes. He feared for Lisa's safety. He feared kidnapping attempts. This fear could have been eliminated by having Lisa return to California on the 15th, but this was not done. Why? So those are very valuable questions. I would be questioning that myself. Hi, Elvis Daily Verses and Prayers. I believe it's Michelle. Hi, Michelle. I believe that's your name. If I'm wrong, you can correct me. All right. So, I mean, that is an interesting question. Why wasn't she sent back on the 15th if he was planning to go on tour for the 16th? And as I read Jerry Schilling's book earlier, I'm just going to just summarize it. He said that he was notified that he didn't give a timeline on Elvis dying, that he went into the Lisa Marie before everybody else was in that jet. And he said that everything was set up for his tour, like his pajamas were on the bed. Thank you. I try. His pajamas were already set up for the trip. That there was some books on the nightstand, and Jerry Schilling said Priscilla went on the plane shortly after, and they hugged and consoled each other. And then he said they arrived, and Vernon was besides himself. And the first thing Vernon did was hug Priscilla, and Jerry Schilling tapped his back and consolation. So that's what he said, but there was no time period. And he didn't say anything about Lisa Marie at all at in that portion of his book. But I thought I'd let you know that's what he said. So the timing or the questioning does lie. It's kind of weird. I mean, if it takes 4 hours to go from Memphis to California, she gets notified at 2 o'clock when he wasn't pronounced dead until like an hour later. Actually, I think it was like 4 o'clock when he was pronounced dead, if I remember correctly. If I'm wrong, you guys can correct me. So something doesn't match in her story. So that's, I think, why Gail is questioning whether Priscilla kind of knew about this or not. So she goes on and she says, I believe Elvis wanted Lisa at Graceland so she would be assured her daddy was fine, is one analysis. I think it's possible that Priscilla was secured inside Graceland prior to the death announcement, is another story. Perhaps there is a good explanation to Priscilla's Lisa being outside story on the night Priscilla arrived, a night etched in the memories of the world, a night when the city of Memphis was in chaos. Many believe Priscilla and Elvis were always in love. I believe it. And Priscilla said that when she was leaving Elvis, they talked about being there another time, another place. He had it all within the palm of his hands, reflected Dee Presley in Elvis, We Love You Tender. He had a beautiful wife and a beautiful little daughter that he couldn't be with, and I think that hurt him tremendously. Dee said further that Elvis was sort of person who didn't readily allow people into his life to begin with, but once he opened to that a person to a level where love was possible, that person became a part of his soul, permanent part of his emotional life. And that is what made the loss of Priscilla so hard to take. As an aside, had anyone noticed that Priscilla, in her role as Jenna Wade on TV's Dallas, this is interesting, was a woman who loved Bobby Ewing in the episode centering around Bobby Ewing's return from the dead? All right. Hi, Darlene. How are you today? So many report they have seen and talked to Elvis Presley since August 16, 1977. Carol Hallum and I were told by a songwriter at Mae Axton's home that he had actually run into Elvis in Atlanta. A Tennessee farmer who knew Elvis swears he saw the superstar outside Graceland seconds before the radio announced Elvis had died. There have been many television shows with the plot of its hero faking his death or her death and returning from the dead. One regularly featured television show with stories to amaze had been the plot of a superstar singer who hoaxed his death only to come back as his twin, Jesse Garon, who ends up killing the singer. According to the Elvis special, which I guess is the of Elvis fan club on Fantasy Island segment, Paul Williams played the superstar complete with jumpsuit who faked his death to escape the mafia types who were with him. So there's a lot of hints in some TV shows back in the 70s and early 80s talking about stars faking their death. I remember watching one soap opera. This is like early 80s, late 80s. And, I'm aging myself, but one soap opera who had quite a few characters fake their death and come back to life. They do it all the time on those. So you never know. Also, the Elvis special also reports the Showtime short subjects on the animated feature titled Celebrity focuses on the superstar named Norm Stern, who took a week off from his superstar duties to relax. The world, deciding he was dead, had a funeral. His mansion was turned into a museum tourist attraction, and people who knew him wrote books about him, causing Norm to write under an alias his own book. So there was a lot of TV shows like that. So I'm kind of wanted to skip over this for a minute and go back to her stuff on Priscilla at the moment. Then we can go back if I want. Let me see if I find it. Anyway, so that was something that there was some very interesting things. She also said something which was a big hint at the end of Priscilla's book. I don't know if anyone has ever read it. But she said she walked into Elvis's room and she looked at everything and she noticed that the book stand next to his bed had no books on it. And he usually had all of his favorite books or his spiritual books, like the book of Numbers, the Bible, and a couple other books, spiritual books that he read that were no longer on the nightstand at his in his room. So there were some questions there she had. So I guess we want to know, did Priscilla know? Now, I'm going to say I don't think she did. That's my opinion. And I think that when you're in mourning and everything, you can't, like, sometimes time could be skewed a little bit. But the question I have is, how about Lisa Marie? Well, so I'm just going to enlarge this so you guys can see this better. So Gail questioned why Lisa Marie was on a golf cart unsupervised at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, normally children sleep at night. All right. I mean, this would be unusual, and especially with all kinds of crowds and all things going on in that city. Why would Lisa be out more early morning like that? Yeah, I could see if Priscilla said, well, we got there at like 7 a.m. and Lisa Marie was out there driving her golf cart. That I can understand, but she didn't say 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. She was saying when she got there, Vernon was wailing and crying, and Lisa Marie was out on a golf cart driving around, which I find very odd. Okay. So we want to know if Lisa Marie knew that day. Well, obviously, the Gail questions her actions after her father's death. She didn't look very sad either. There is a photo. I think I put the photograph on the first page here. I mean, she looks a little sad, but she wasn't really crying that I saw in the photographs that I saw. But she's just kind of like looking down and pouting a little bit. And, at 9 years old, I would be very, very, and it was my father, I would have been wailing and crying too. I wouldn't be out on a golf cart, um, well, driving around. I would be very upset. I would be with my grandfather or something while waiting for mom to get there, you know. So that is one question that I have, was why was she still at Graceland if he had planned to go on tour? I mean, that's one thing. Another thing that really bothers me is that they said that somehow they put a bracelet on his wrist. Wouldn't they know it was wax? I mean, what are they going to go along and say, oh, okay, yeah, it's just wax. We're just going to pretend. And that's probably what they did. Very good acting. And then sayings. Her sayings were kind of weird. Now, I saw her in an interview one day, and I wish I had a clip of it, but there's no way I have a clip. If I can find the video, I'll put it on the description after. It was a clip of her saying something on the idea that that she met with him before the funeral, like his ghost or something, and he like consoled her and told her that everything's gonna be okay and he'll always be with her and blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like what, he visited you in a dream? You know, like I just have a hard time believing that. So what Jesse Elvis had said here in this book, the truth about Elvis Aaron Presley in his own words. Now, he had said a few things. And so he said this. Little Lisa was told months later and explained to her that she would not see me much. Okay. So he told her a few months later. Maybe she suspected something awry. I don't know. Pretty smart. So I don't know. But I'm assuming she probably was very hurt as well. Not being told 3 months later. He doesn't say anything about Priscilla in here, about when she knew. But what's kind of weird is the timing. It sounds weird. I don't think that she was there before this all happened. But I have this funny feeling. Yeah. She was told, like, he said a few months later. It could have been even three years, but I'm not quite sure. You know, he said 3 months in his book here. All right. So the challenge with Priscilla is that her story doesn't match the timelines that Gail would say. So it could be a possibility that she might have knew, or because she is a very good actress, or maybe she didn't know, and when she found out, she was very angry with him, and I'm sure she was, because she had to put up with Lisa had to put up with that secret for 45 years. That's a long time. But she did find out. We just don't know when. But she was questioning that. So that's why I was reading it, and I'm going to let you guys decide if you think Priscilla might have knew about it already or knew something was not right. But what I'm saying is, why did he leave Lisa Marie there? Because he didn't plan to go on tour. So that is the other thing I wanted to tell you. I had talked about this before. Oh, yeah. And so the other one is, did Vernon know? So what this book said was that Vernon said to a person at the funeral, they said, this does not look like Elvis. This is not him in the casket. And he goes, yeah, he's upstairs. Okay. So that was a quote that someone said he said. They automatically assumed that he knew. But according to this book, The Truth About Elvis Aaron Presley, in his own words, he said his father, my own daddy, bless his soul, never knew the truth. He also said, and he said it twice. Let's see if I can find the second one. He kind of made sure he stated it a couple times in here because people asked. I think people kept asking, are you sure that he didn't know? but he said he didn't know it. He couldn't be, I think, added to it because of reasons, and I can't remember the reasons. See if I can find it. Anyway, it's not coming out. Anyway, he was supposed to be told 3 years later, according to his numerology chart, but he died 6 months too early. That's what he said in the book. He never told his father. Do I think that Vernon might have found out? I think he did. But I don't think Elvis knew that he found out. Because he was already gone. He was gone on trips and everything else. Okay. So there was one more person that was in on this plan. There were some men who were, I didn't get to finish this. So who was in on it? Okay. So he said in this book, The Truth About Elvis Aaron Presley, in his own words, that 6 men were involved. They stood in the meditation gardens and they hand over hand and they vowed to keep it secret the whole life, the whole rest of their life. And he said that he originally had the colonel was a mastermind in the whole thing. Now, in the video that I have about Colonel being the mastermind, it talks about the Colonel and his past and how he kind of changed his name, took on a new identity here in the States. So he basically kind of faked his death over where he was from, I think Holland. So he had already done it. So he already knew how to do this stuff. He was the mastermind behind it. He had Joe Esposito picked as the man that was going to help with the plan to pull it off. He also mentioned something about Dr. Nick might have been involved because he gave him the injection, the medication, whatever that he needed to give himself a death-like state or a comatose state. Also, I believe those are 3 people right there. I also believe that maybe one other friend might have been involved. I think Larry Geller might have been involved, but sworn to secrecy on it. And because Larry Geller was the one that had to go get the wax mannequin that was used in the casket. And he said he commissioned it by Mr. Cooper out of California. All right, to make this mannequin. And of course, when he made the first mannequin for a museum, it was a younger version of him. So, he used that one for the casket. So Joe was in on it, the Colonel, Dr. Nick. Somebody else, not sure. He reveals in this book that there was a man, or Herb Wolf, that had the financial means to help him pull this off. Okay. So he might have been in on it. And the other one was, they said, was believed Howard Hughes, who had already staged his death, and he got information from him. But we don't know who else in the inner circle knew about this plan. Well, is there was at least 4 of them were identified in here in his immediate circle. Okay. So there was one more. I'm going to just read quickly. There were some discrepancies in some of the stories. Now, we'll go over Joe Esposito because he's got a lot there. And some mistakes that he had made. Maybe I'll do that the next live stream. But this one here, I just wanted to, let me see if I can find what I was looking for. So, yeah, the confusing part is the fact that we do not know if Priscilla knew anything or did anything, got involved, but her time is not right. And there was a couple other people that have kind of revealed to Gail Giorgio that he was alive. But there was one interview that I want to read, because this interview, or this phone conversation with Elvis and his friend, which is documented in here, and I had put this in what he told his friends, but I'm going to read it again. This is a big hint to her, and I think she firmly believes that he is alive. Okay. So this is between Ellen, who is let's see, Ellen's last name is Foster, and this is a conversation she had with Elvis 2 days before he died. So she says hello, and Elvis said, "Love, is that you?" Ellen: "Why, Elvis, how are you? How have you been?" "I feel fine, love, you know. I was thinking of you today." Ellen: "I think of you every day, Elvis. Are you taking care of yourself?" Elvis said, "Yes, but that's not why I'm calling." Ellen said, "What's the matter, Elvis?" Elvis said, "Nothing. You know, do you know how happy you've made me, love?" "Oh, Elvis," Elvis says, "No, no. You know, today my mama had been dead for 19 years, 19 long years." And Elvis starts to weep. Ellen said, "Calm down, Elvis, calm down. Your mother's probably watching you now. She wouldn't want you to cry." Elvis said, "I can't help it. I sometimes wonder if I caused her death." Ellen said, "No, you didn't, Elvis. Your mother had a bad heart. She was overweight." "Yeah, she was. She was drinking a lot because of me." "Don't blame yourself for that, Elvis. Don't carry that cross." Actually, I think she died of some type of liver disease. I could be wrong. Or heart, or both. Anyway. "I can't help it," he said. "I started making so much money. I started showering her with gifts and diamond rings. You know, I gave you one that belonged to her, the one that I gave my mother back in 1955, and cars and Cadillacs. I bought her a big, beautiful home. I thought I was doing the right for her, but she couldn't handle it. She still hung out the wash outside, fed chickens outside. We're living in 13 acres, and my mom is chasing chickens around the backyard. I never should have taken her away from her roots. I never should have. It wasn't fair to her. She felt compelled to impress me trying to lose weight, and then when she had a tough time with that, she started to drink. She became depressed and had a tough oh, and it was all my fault. It was all my fault. So mama, please forgive me." Ellen: "Elvis, don't go blaming yourself. Don't go blaming yourself. You didn't do anything wrong. Every boy wishes that he could rise of fame and riches, then provide for his parents. There's nothing wrong with that, Elvis. What was meant to be was, and that's all." So, Elvis, are you getting excited about your next tour? It's just 2 days away, and I'd love to see you. Elvis, still sniffling. "Yeah, that's why I called you, love. I can you? We're talking in confidence. We always do. You're just like my mother to me, like a mother to me. I wouldn't even say that I trust you so much." "Oh, Ellen, Elvis, I love you like you were my son. You know that. What is it, Elvis?" I'm not going on tour, Ellen. I'm not going on that tour." "You canceled it, Elvis? What's the matter? Don't you feel good?" "I think I never felt better, love, and I'm just not going on that tour." "Well, why'd you can't cancel it, Elvis?" "I didn't cancel it, love. Elvis, maybe I didn't understand you. You're not going on tour, but you didn't cancel the tour. Is that what you just said? That's right, love. I'm not going on the tour and I haven't canceled it. Well, when are you canceling it? I'm not. She says, I don't understand. Listen to me, love. Listen to me real close. You're not to tell a soul. I won't tell anybody anything. I'm not going on the last tour and I'm not going to cancel it. Don't ask me any more questions. Just remember one thing. What's that, Elvis? I'll always be here. I'll always be here. Don't believe what you read. Don't you understand, love? Elvis, this sounds scary. Nah, it's not. Are you in trouble, Elvis? No, nothing. Nothing I can explain. No, nothing really. No, no, I'm not in any trouble. As a matter of fact, all my troubles are ending. Just remember, I love you very much and I'll always be here and I'll talk to you again. When, Elvis? Oh, I don't know, but one day I'll give you a call and let you know. I've got your number. I'll always have it with me. I love you. I love you, Elvis. Goodbye. Goodbye, Elvis. How many times did he tell her that he was not going on that tour, but he didn't cancel the tour? And don't believe anything you read. Well, that is pretty interesting that he says his troubles are going to be over. And he'll call her later on. The conversation. He just told her what he's planning to do, and she still couldn't understand what he was planning to do. And so, who knows? Maybe Lisa Marie was already at the airport in California. I mean, this was all pre-planned and he was prepared. Could it be a possibility that he just said to the pilot, please take the Lisa Marie to California before I go away? But why wouldn't they have taken Lisa Marie with them? That's a good question. Because I know he wouldn't have sent Lisa Marie on a private, on a public, on any kind of flight other than his own. Because don't forget, he had a threat against her, and why would he send her on a public flight? Or, so. All right. So now I'm going to go over some of the comments. I'm going to say hi to everybody. First of all, I'm going to say hi, Michelle. Hi, Darlene. Hi, Jacqueline. All right. I'm glad you enjoyed the story. It's in the books and kind of like this was thrown together. Sorry, guys. I wish I had a little bit more, but I'm working on something big, though. It's coming up soon. Lisa Marie later on in life, and she didn't care about Priscilla. I'm going to say this. Lisa Marie did love Priscilla. They had their differences, but they were mother and daughter. All right. So she did love her mother. I think that, so this is my take on everything. If I was in Priscilla's shoes, I don't know if I would have handled it the same way, but Priscilla ended up being a single parent, technically. Elvis was gone and died, well, technically dead, but gone. And Lisa Marie admitted she was not an easy child to deal with. Lisa Marie always told everybody she was a terror. And she said that to everybody. She was a terror when she was younger. And I think that Priscilla came from a military home and a very strict home. So she's probably a very strict parent. And when you have a child that kind of difficult and rebellious, obviously there's going to be some disagreements and fights. All right. And tough love. And I guess, sometimes it could be. I don't know exactly how close they were because, I'm going to say Priscilla was a busy woman, businesswoman. So I bet she spent a lot of time with the nanny or childcare or in school. But they still loved each other, I think. They were family. So that's all I'm going to say. Just because she had her minutes of not loving her mother. I'm sure she loved her mother and enough. But I also know, well, when she died, she wanted her children to inherit, and I wouldn't blame her on that. So, I mean, Priscilla is now what, 78, almost 79. It's time for Priscilla to release the reins and let the grandchildren take over, which I think that's what has happened. All right, so what's next? I believe Vernon knew he wrote a book not to come out till 2027. I have never heard of that, as Elvis would be passed on by then. I'm not sure about that either. We don't know when he's gonna die or pass away. I don't know if he wrote a book or not. He's not a very educated man, but maybe he did. But you would think it would be out by now. But I'm sure Lisa Marie's memoir is going to be very telling if she's allowed to reveal anything in it, or if they take it all out. So we don't know. I thought it was odd that Elvis would announce that even if I am dead, no one would be able to go upstairs to see his bedroom, and that was a strange thing to say. Exactly. Um, no one's allowed up there to this day, except for immediate family, and or family members. So, yeah, there is reasons. Well, first of all, I think they wanted to keep the bathroom. I'm going to say out of respect for what happened. I'm going to say the family wanted to keep those quarters private. But also I know someone who's in the family, that he used to go up there quite often to stay or to do something. I don't know if he does it anymore, but he used to. So no one was allowed up there for those reasons. Okay. Well, I don't know about that, and that is not my business, and it's a family issue. So Lisa Marie had it put in her will that her mother wasn't to be buried in Graceland. At Graceland. I do not know anything more than that. All I know is that there are 6 plots at Graceland available. So I don't know. So I don't know what her will says, and maybe she never thought that her mother was going to outlive her. So there's a possibility that might not have been in her will. But according to Riley, she's going to be buried, or her memorial stone will be at Graceland. I don't think there's bodies buried there at Graceland. I don't think they had clearance. I could be wrong, but from what I heard, it's in somewhere in a private cemetery, and no one knows. All right. As far as I know, that's all I heard. Anyway. Okay. So there are some clues that Lisa Marie had put out. They're on my group page, pictures. I'll put them on the community page if I can. One is a shirt that she has a clue on there about her father being alive. She says, "You're alive. I thought you were dead." Something like that on it. And then there was another clue that she had out as well. All right. I can't remember it. Anyway. Also, anything else that you need to find out more about anything, you can always look it up on this website. I will give it to you. I always do this because this woman, Linda Hood Sigmund, truth.com, has all the information that you need pertaining to this book here. All right. She was the Shuma in this book. They used aliases in this book, except for the doctor. And she's got Shuma, and she covers this book quite well in her on her site because she has the original rough drafts of the letters that were written in this book as well, and a bunch of other things, DNA, all that kind of thing. I will cover some of that stuff later, all right? Because there's a lot here. And I mean, yeah, 45, 46 years, so 46 years worth of stuff that I can cover. So, but I'm still covering funeral inconsistencies and things that he's done in the early 80s. So we're working our way up. Whatever could be revealed is revealed on that site. So you guys, if you want to look at that site, you can. The continued one gives you current updates. The one by itself doesn't have the continued on the back. But anyway, there's two of them, and they link together, so you can go back and forth. And she's got DNA, handwriting analysis on there, results, and other things. And she does cover Gail Brewer Giorgio's Elvis files and her second recording of a telephone call. I do have that. We will cover telephone calls and other sightings another day. And I have it in the works of a part 2 soon, a real life encounter with the man himself. Right? So as soon as I get that set up, I will do that, and we'll do a double screen visit there. All right. Until further, next time, you guys have a good night. God bless you all, and I'll come back on sooner or later, maybe with another music video. Not today, but like later on this week. And another live maybe on the weekend. Until then, you guys have a great day. Bye. Or great night. Either one. Bye. Sounds good too. Bye.